What is going on, y'all? Robert Sykes, KetoSavage.com. I'm coming back at you with another AMA, Ask Me Anything episode. It's been a while since we've done an AMA, so hopefully you get something out of it. This one is all about refeeds and how to time them around a training load. But before we dive into that, let's roll the intro. All right, so this question is brought to us by Frederick, and he asks, this is a question on maintenance eating strategies to support training efforts. Maintenance eating strategies. I currently train 5 days per week, 3 with a strong endurance trend, high rep kettlebell snatches, with my other 2 being more strength and mobility focused. I keep my meals pretty consistent, but I can vary the quantity up and down depending on how I feel, i.e., eat another 1 pound of beef, a few more eggs, or finishing off a brick. I also fast from time to time, and this is to say that these current snatch days are upping my metabolism and making me want to crush more calories. To my question, how best would you schedule what is essentially a refeed day in the middle of this kind of training schedule to optimize better muscle growth as well as timing a fast for fat loss? Yes, I'm looking for the holy grail, but I think some evenings I should let loose after a hard work day and others be better suited for self-control. All right. Holy grail. Let me give it to you. Are you ready, Frederick, and anybody else watching? The holy grail is that there is no holy grail to what you're trying to accomplish here. You're trying to do fasting for fat loss, have refeeds for muscle building, and do both within the course of the same week. It's not really going to work that way. You kind of have to spend ample time in either a building phase to optimize for muscle building or a cutting phase to optimize for fat loss. That is why I recommend having defined phases to go through, whether it is going to be primarily a building phase or a cutting phase. Yes, you can build muscle and lose body fat simultaneously, but you're not going to optimize for either if you're trying to do so. When you're talking about a time frame as short as 1 week, around specific training days, like your whole intake is going to average out for the week. Like your body, I recommend tracking macros on a 24-hour basis, not letting them average out over the week because that's going to be more sustainable and structured for most people. But your body doesn't really have a set clock in that sense. So like your body's going to average out what you're consuming in a week, and then your body's going to reflect that average over time. If you're trying to have a specifically hard training day on Tuesday, for instance, follow that up with a bolus of calories because you're hungrier as a result of that hard training day, and then 2 days later have an extended fast to try and optimize for fat loss, and then you repeat that something similar the following week. Your body's just going to average all of that out. It's just going to become the new homeostatic set point and norm. Your metabolism's not really going to be able to move up or down accordingly, and you're not really going to see a ton of progress, and you're going to plateau. That's what happens to most people because they're trying to eat intuitively, and when they train hard, they're going to be hungrier because their metabolism, ramps up a little bit. They're stimulating muscle protein synthesis. They're eating more food. Eating more food as a result of that is going to cause an acute increase in metabolism as well. Then they're going to feel guilty for eating more food, so they're going to do an extended fast and try and burn off that extra food that they overindulged on, and then they're right back where they started. It winds up being some sloppy yo-yo approach. So I do not recommend doing what you're doing, and I don't recommend looking for a holy grail because there isn't really a holy grail. Consistency is key with whatever you're trying to do, whether it is to build muscle or to lose body fat. The grass always looks greener on the other side. When you're in a building phase, you're going to put on a little bit extra body fat. You're going to get stronger. You're going to feel more powerful. But then you're going to start looking in the mirror and you're going to be like, man, I'm a little fluffy. I should do a cut. When you're in a cutting phase, you're going to be hungrier and you're going to be like, man, I feel depleted after that hard workout. I really need to bring in more food because I've earned it. And then you're not really going to be optimizing for fat loss. You can't just flip-flop from one to the other on a weekly basis or a daily basis and expect to see any real tangible results. That's literally why I've been in a cut for 27 weeks now at the time of this recording for these competitions. It's taken me 27 weeks of consistent caloric deficit to get to the level of conditioning that I am. After these competitive shows are over, I'm going to transition to a building phase, put on some more body fat, and be optimizing for muscle building for the next several years probably before I do another cut. You got to pick one, stick with it, stay consistent with it, recognize that there is this grass is greener on the other side approach, but then don't let that get to you negatively and just double down on it. You don't have to go as long a period as I am, because you likely don't need to get as lean as I'm trying to get or optimize for muscle building as much as I'm trying to get. But you don't want to have things revolving on a daily or weekly basis either, because then you're not really going to make the most of either end of the spectrum. So a lot of people come at me with this question. A lot of people are going through something similar. They're trying to do two competing things at the same time and not really capitalize on either. So for you, Frederick, for anybody watching this, I highly encourage you to just pick a goal and stick with the steps necessary to reach that goal. Once you've reached that goal, whether it is to build muscle or lose fat, then you transition to the other end of the spectrum and optimize for that. And then you just keep repeating that process, stair-stepping it up over time, and getting better over time. That is how you avoid plateaus and actually see continued progress over time. So, thank you very much for the question, Frederick. I certainly appreciate it. You requested some toasted almond coconut keto bricks or nootropic if we happen to have any. I will see if we have nootropic. If we do, I'll hook you up. If not, you'll be getting some toasted almond bricks. For anybody that does not know how these AMA videos work, if you submit me a well-thought-out question via the link in the description below, and I use your question on an AMA, I will send you some free bricks with the flavor of your choosing. Thank y'all for tuning in. Talk to you next time.